so today we're going to be going over the Bitcoin miners as well as, well, I guess basically just Coinbase MicroStrategy and Bitcoin a little bit. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so Bitcoin did have another weekly close. You guys can see that it is a green candle on the weekly time frame. Am I surprised by this? Not at all. Again, I do not think that Bitcoin's all-time high has played out yet. As you guys can see, for the first time in a long time, actually, we got a golden cross on the daily time frame. Last time we got this was the day after the election, funny enough. And from that golden cross, we had a pretty sizable move. So about 57% to the upside. I can just tell you guys right now, I am expecting a very, very green January for all markets, okay, for stocks and crypto and the Bitcoin miners, the Grayscale trusts, altcoins, Bitcoin, the whole 9 yards, okay. I think pretty much everything in crypto and stocks is going to go up. There is a lot of indication, a lot of different stocks and metrics that we look at here that have indicated that the bottom has probably already come in. I mean, I just can't imagine it getting more oversold than what we've seen recently. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so Mara, this thing is mainly just going sideways in this huge kind of ugly looking pattern here. Again, if you have TradingView and you're able to use these tools, if you just come to this channel for this, that's fine. But if you have TradingView, you can always do this yourself. Just, if you're unsure of whether something's going sideways, up or down, you can just draw a box over it, nice and easy, right? So this thing is going sideways into moving off of a low. So my guess is probably going to move higher. Okay. I'm seeing this whole big sideways as accumulation. Keep in mind, according to TradingView, excuse me, we have a lot of earnings for the miners in Q1. So as you guys know, Bitcoin has been pretty much at all-time highs for the vast majority of Q4. So I'm expecting a lot of these miners to have profitability, which Wall Street's going to like because they like cash flow positive companies. They're probably going to bid up the price. We're going to see a lot of massive upside on these miners during Q1 of this year, which we're in right now. That's kind of what I think is likely to happen, okay? All right, so support here, 1770 to 2025 for Mara. Targets pretty much at 29 to about 33 up here at the top. Excuse me, you guys already know that I think Mara could easily hit like 50 or $60 this cycle. It's possible maybe it even goes higher than that if we get that spot, or not spot Bitcoin, the Bitcoin national stockpile. If we get that and the government buys 1 million Bitcoin, I mean, there's no telling just how high these things could go. It could be absolutely stupid. We could be seeing hundreds of dollars per share. Anything's possible as far as I'm concerned. So 85% gain here. Mara is in that buy zone, so keep that in mind. Okay, next one, Riot. So not quite in the buy zone, but we haven't broken structure yet, so it's still early. Still relatively cheap, in my opinion. I'd say the buy area is anywhere between 930 to about 1250 on this one, with targets up to 1870 to $21 for a potential move of 117% gain. Jeez, excuse me. Okay, so CLSK is still within this kind of channel thing. Again, the channel, this formation of a channel, a falling channel, is actually a bullish pattern. Okay, it's supposed to break out to the upside. That's the probability that this particular pattern is given with a target at the top of the channel, so about $18. Do keep in mind there is also a possibility of a bull flag here. Although this is not real textbook for a bull flag, I would still consider that as an option with a target of 22. And then, of course, you have the inverse head and shoulders pattern. I think that did actually already play out, if I'm not mistaken. Let's do the measured move here and find out. Well, it didn't quite play out, but I mean, $19, so I suppose it still has to play out. But regardless, whatever the case, CLSK is massively oversold, and I've showed you guys this on X, and this is true for a lot of the miners. As soon as they hit that oversold signal on the 4-hourly time frame, it immediately shot back up. Am I surprised by this? Not really. I mean, every single time this happens, smart money comes in there and they start buying the dip. If you guys learn to implement some of these strategies for yourself, you would set yourself up. And again, I can't guarantee it, but there's a very high probability of success with this particular strategy here. The 4 hourly or the daily oversold signal on the RSI is very, very high probability in terms of success. For a bull, if you're a bull in these markets, if you're a bear, obviously it would be the inverse. So anyways, so the buy zone anywhere in this channel, 890 going all the way up to 13. I suppose that you could say the bottom of this channel to this top trend line here at 1150. Again, 13 kind of lines up with the EMAs, so anywhere in there. And then targets up here, 21 to 24. It's really hard to say exactly how far CLSK could go. I mean, they did talk about wanting to do some kind of share buybacks, so that could obviously boost the price substantially. It could go much higher, 25, 30, 35. We'll just have to wait and see. 165% gain here. Okay, next one, HUD 8. Nice big green bounce right off the EMAs and support, and also a flip zone. That's a lot of bullish confluence there. Am I shocked this happened? Not really. So buy zone here is 1750 to about 2250. Targets going anywhere from 2760 to, I'd say, 30, 33, 34 bucks, somewhere in there. It's a pretty good profit. I mean, roughly about a 2x. If you can nail this thing perfectly, 90% gain. There was a bull flag formation here, but obviously it got negated with the sell-off, so that's no longer a relevant pattern. It turned out to be a rising wedge, or rising channel, I should say, which is a bearish pattern instead of a bull flag. Again, for these patterns to play out exactly to expectations, you would always have to wait for a confirmation of the move, which means you would have to wait for a candle to close outside in either direction of this particular channel to confirm the direction that it's actually going to go. So those of you guys are like, well, it didn't play out like a bull flag. Well, that's because you got to wait for confirmation, dude. I mean, there's a high probability for a bull flag to break out to the upside, but if it turns out to be a rising channel and you think it's going to be bearish, well, then either way, you have to wait for the move to confirm what direction it's going to go. That's how traders operate. Most traders do not make assumptions. They wait for confirmation. Okay, so cipher, same thing. Thought it was a bull flag, didn't play out, so that got negated as well. Nice little pullback into the EMAs. Buy zone down here, 460 to 550. Targets $10 to about 1050 on this one. So you could be looking at easily a 2x, maybe even more than that. 125% gain here, btbt. And keep in mind, cipher is in the buy zone. I think a lot of these are actually in buy zones. So yeah, HUD 8 also recently just popped off of one. btbt, not so much. This is within no man's land. Yeah, I mean, not really thrilled about the fact that this is not breaking structure yet, but keep in mind, every single time this thing has pushed against this resistance, it has created a higher wick. Usually that's a pretty strong indication that we're about to get a move up. And you also have, excuse me, you have a series of higher highs and higher lows here. So you have a low, and then this doesn't look like it, but it is actually a slightly higher low. Another slightly higher low, higher low. And you have a series of higher highs, higher high, higher high. Well, this one's not a higher high, but this one is actually. So there's a lot of reason to believe that btbt is actually going to go much higher. It's just a question of what price you want to get in at. So I would say maybe anywhere in these EMAs, 335 to 387 would be a good buy area. You could always wait for a pullback into 170 to $2, but at this point in the cycle, I mean, we're in that year 3 for crypto. You guys already know we talk about this in the Bitcoin video. 3 out of those 4 years tend to be greens, so not so sure if you're going to get a pullback on this one, dude. I mean, if you didn't get it down here, then you may just have to. I mean, obviously, I can't make a guarantee here, but the EMAs would be your next best bet. So, targets I'd be looking for is actually way up here. So, 1240 to about 1450. Again, the more times it pushes against the level, the more likely it is to break. In this case, I'm expecting resistance to be broken to the upside for about a 360% gain. Okay, next one here, BITF. So unfortunately, I thought this was going to be a bullish breakout. It was not. This could always be an undercut. This could be some trickery done by the market makers. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But I mean, the lows anywhere down here between 150 to I'd say probably about 175, somewhere in there could be a good area to buy. Do I think it's going to come back to these bear market lows? No, but keep those prices in mind. Target up here between 290 to about 360 on this one. I mean, these shares are like ungodly cheap. I mean, it's $1.50 per share. So, if you guys are worried about it coming back down to 78 cents, then maybe that's a little expensive for your taste. Okay, so 137% gain here, Hive. Yeah, I mean, a BITF is incredibly cheap. So if you're not comfortable putting money into that, I mean, of course, it's your money. You can do what you want, but you may have to take a look at the pink sheets and penny stocks. Just saying. Okay, so Hive, when it's pretty close to support here, it's a good area, in my opinion, 215 to 277. Targets, I'd be looking up here at 575 to about 770, somewhere in there. I don't think it's likely to come back into this zone. I mean, a nice little pop off the zone and then maybe straight up is kind of what I'm thinking. 170% gain here. Okay, next one, iren. So nice little double top for the Bears. I'm sure they're pretty happy with themselves at this point, but I don't think it's going to last. I'm just going to be honest about it. Again, we have this. You may not be able to see it at first glance. When you trade for a long period of time, this becomes second nature. It's pretty obvious exactly what you're looking at, even if you don't draw any lines here. So we could actually be seeing a ascending triangle pattern, which is a bullish pattern, just so y'all know. So anyways, anywhere basically along the trend line here or the EMAs, I say is a good buy area, 9 to 1170. Of course, come up with your own ideas as to what you think is a good area. 1350 to about $18 for a target on this one. There's a potential here for 2x. It's possible. About 87% gain on this. Okay, so let's cover Coinbase and MSTR last because, again, these are crypto stocks. Bitcoin miners, I mean, they are Bitcoin miners, but technically they are bought and sold on the stock market. They're not actually a native crypto. So that's kind of why we pile all this stuff together in one video like we do. So I'll show you guys again. Okay, so we got the 4-hour oversold signal again on Coinbase, and I believe we also have it on MSTR too. Yep, sure did recently. It's not a perfect oversold signal, but it's pretty close if you ask me. I mean, last time we got even close to this on MSTR was down here at $116. And you guys, those of you guys that have MSTR or anything MSTR related, obviously, if you had the cojones to hold for that long, well, you made serious bank, and hats off to you, dude. And then, of course, you have the August one. And yeah, so the rest is history. I think MSTR is probably very likely going higher from here. I think it's actually going to smash the previous all-time highs. Just going to be honest about it. So, yeah, we got the golden cross here on the RSI, EMAs on the MACD, and even the EMAs on the chart are starting to point upwards on the 4-hourly time frame for Coinbase. So I think likely this is going much higher. Again, keep in mind the falling channel here is a bullish pattern. Okay. These are basically reverse indicators or reverse price patterns is what they are. When it's falling, it's a bullish pattern. When it's rising, it's a bearish pattern, on and on. So anyways, the target for the channel would be the top of the channel. So 350 in this case. I think it's probably going to go much higher. I already told you guys we're probably going to smash the previous all-time high of 430. Again, the whole pro-crypto admin, deregulation of business, all that kind of stuff would obviously send these things flying off to the moon. And I have talked about this briefly, I think a couple of times in previous videos, but again, if we were just to do the Fibonacci measurements here, and I do not think this is crazy at all after seeing what MSTR did. Yeah. To say that Coinbase could go up to nearly $700 a share, especially with Trump getting back in office, and if Gensler truly is going to resign, and we get this pro SEC chair, that's going to lift a lot of weight off of a lot of these crypto exchanges' shoulders. I think $700 a share is definitely realistic. I'm just going to throw that out there. So anyways, anywhere at the bottom of this channel, I would say is a good area to potentially pick some up if you're interested in Coinbase or anything Coinbase related. For 240 to maybe about 270, somewhere in there, with targets of 305 to 370 for a massive 50% potential gain here. MSTR. So very bullish looking hammer candle here. I definitely like that. I'd say that's pretty bullish, especially coming off this support down here. So I would say anywhere in between these EMAs 285 to this white line up here at 330, good buy area. Of course, come up with your own conclusions on that, with the target at the all-time highs, and potentially even up here at this white line, which okay, yeah, never mind that. Okay, so anyways, potentially at the all-time highs, if we're looking for greater targets here, you can see it already hit this one based on the previous move, so that tells you the Fibonacci's do actually work. So let's remeasure this. Next level, I'd be looking at roughly about 715 on this one, so anywhere between the current all-time high and 715. So it could be as little as 95%. It could be as great as 155%. All right. Hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.